Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Saturday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. It is Greek Cypriot Easter Saturday today. Yes, according to the Greek Orthodox religion, Jesus Christ was crucified quite a few weeks later than you guys did it in Christianity. I'm not a religious guy. I don't give a shit about religion. I do not believe, I'm not against it, but I'm just not a religious guy. My religion is entertainment at the end of the day. So it's a great time though. They paint these eggs, they boil the eggs, they paint them different colours. We play at smashing them. We get these beautiful little things called vlanas. They're like these cheesecake thingies. So it's a really good time and it's fun, but I'm not into the religion of it. Anyway, let's talk entertainment. And today's talking point for me is a very, very interesting one. And I really want to give you my take on this. So what's his name? Winston Duke, the actor of colour from Black Panther, has come out publicly saying he wants to be James Gunn's Batman and Bruce Wayne. And I thought that would be, a really interesting talking point for today's show. And it is. Now, let me know in the comments down below. Smash a like while you're doing that as well. Do you think that do you think it's right for a black man, an Asian actor, a Latino actor, any diverse actor to play Batman and Bruce Wayne? Or are you strict on this, that Batman and Bruce Wayne should be played by a white man? Comment down below. Smash the like button if you like me. If you don't, you can even go thumbs down. It doesn't matter. It is fine. I've already forgotten it. I'm already over it. I've already forgiven you. So here is my take. Actually, let me give you a for instance. Let's go back to Batman 89. Let's go back to around when they started making that film and doing the casting. Must have been 88, 87. I think 87 is probably around the time when the film was in the planning, right? So Tim Burton is directing a Batman movie. We're all excited. All of a sudden on CNN we're told that Denzel Washington has been cast as Bruce Wayne and Batman. How do you feel about that? I think unless you're the biggest bigot, you're the biggest racist, you've got a geek, a geekgasm. You've got a geek boner. You have such a thick erection because Denzel Washington is one of the greatest actors of all time. Who wouldn't want Denzel Washington as Bruce Wayne and Batman? I would. I don't care. That's my opinion. And that's what my opinion is about this whole situation. Let's take, characters that have, who are canonically white in the comics, in books, in their originality, right? And if an actor of colour, if an actor of a diverse background comes in, hey, let's go with a trans actor as well. Whoever, right? Whoever, canonically isn't this character, right? And they come in and they give such a great audition and they're collaborators. They're going to get on with their castmates. They're not going to be divas. They're not going to be problematic. They're utterly talented and they deserve this opportunity. And I can see it. I can see that they're going to be a great Bruce Wayne or Batman. I'm going to cast them and I'd be willing to take the flak as a director. I would do it because that's what it's about for me. I'm not interested in quotas. I'm not interested in representation. I'm not interested in anything but the piece of art that I'm making. And if someone with a diverse, I don't believe in casting people because they're black or Latino or Asian. I don't believe in quotas. I would never employ anyone in my business. Imagine I've got an imaginary studio, right, and I'm building it out. My mentality would be the best person gets the job. Whether it's the person filing, whether it's the person typing, whatever. If you are good enough, that's it. If you are good enough and if you've got the gear inside you that I need, and the personality and the compassion, and you can collaborate with others, then you're in. I don't give a shit what colour you are, what gender you are, what identity you are. That should be left at the door. And I think it's the biggest form of racism in any way, shape or form to employ someone because of the colour of their skin or how they identify as. I think it's all about their ability, their personality, who they are. And as I say, everyone has to be a collaborator who works in my imaginary studio, let's say, and is in my movies. They have to work with other people. We have to become a family. We'll argue, we'll shout at each other. Sometimes that's okay. That's what families do. So, and I think, if you are into this representation thing, I think if you cast the best people, the people that you see in the role, you think can, bring out the best in your vision, whatever colour they are, however they identify as, then you will get automatic representation and inclusion. And there will be equality there. Of course, it's right that everyone gets a chance. Every talented person should have the opportunity to play these roles, whether they're black, white, Asian, Latino, Indian, whatever, whether you're gay, straight, however you identify as. And I don't have enough, even in my half an hour videos, to kind of, list every identity and nationality. But basically, to me, I'm blind to your culture. I'm blind to your gender identity. I don't judge you as a person. Those things don't make who you are. It's what you identify as. It's how you like the world to see you. I understand. But I'm not employing anyone because of the colour of their skin, what country they're from, what hole they take it in. I don't care about any of that. And their genitals, I don't care. All I care about is if you come in and you do a few auditions and I can see that you're going to be a great Batman, Bruce Wayne, Superman. This whole black Superman thing. The reason I never agreed with that, because I'm sure people are going to pull me up on this. I didn't agree on the Black Superman movie from Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams, and I'll tell you why. Because there was a decision by them purposely to create a black Superman movie for equality reasons, for representation mattering reasons. It's about, it's not about the piece of art. It's about political ideology, and that has no place in entertainment. No one should be cast because they are black. No one shouldn't be cast because they are black or whatever. We have this motto in Hollywood now. What is it? Stale and pale. No, what is it? Male and pale is stale. We heard that being exposed a few weeks ago on certain YouTubers platforms as well, didn't we? Which is the biggest bigotry you ever get. This is what Hollywood has become. It's one of many reasons why the industry today is broken and there's no fixing it. And I've said it before. The only way we fix it is if we move away and rebuild it somewhere else with people that are not these people, because these people are the fucking problem and the reason that entertainment is broken. But if a black man comes in and auditions as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and they have the personality and they have what you need and they can work with others, absolutely, I'm up for that. So if Winston Duke walks into my Batman Bruce Wayne audition and I see something within him and I think, yeah, this dude could be a great Bruce Wayne and a great Batman, I'd be absolutely fine with it and I'd take the flak. But what I would never do is cast a black man to play. I wouldn't be looking for a black man or a white man. I'd be looking for the right person for the job. There's this whole Idris Elba situation with James Bond. Some people don't want Idris to play James Bond because he's black. But he isn't. Forget the fact that he's black. He's Idris freaking Elba. He's got great physicality. He's got great screen presence. He would make a great Bond. Now, he doesn't really want to be involved with Bond because of all the flack he's going to get for being black and for people seeing Bond as a white character, because in his originality, he's a white character. But Idris Elba, it's a different situation because it's Idris Elba. And I spoke about Denzel Washington at the beginning of the video. If Denzel wants to play Batman and Bruce Wayne, I don't give a shit if he's pink with black spots. I'm going to cast him. It's Denzel freaking fucking Washington. So I don't care. I don't look at people like, whether they're minorities, whatever colour they are, whatever, it's all about what they can do, what's inside them, what their ability is, what their personality is, what they can give you within a production. And if they can do that, if they can be a great Bruce Wayne, you know, because it goes beyond colour and gender, you know, we're not going to get a woman to play Bruce Wayne. I mean, that's another, that will be, you know, I know that's another conversation for another time. But you know what I mean? If you are good enough, if you have got the stuff inside you to be a great Bruce Wayne and Batman, then I would cast you personally. I would be okay with that, because this did catch my imagination yesterday. Winston Duke publicly coming out and saying he wants to be considered to play James Gunn's Batman. Now, at first on X, I did one of my, you know, I did that kind of laughed and I made fun of it a bit for obvious reasons. But this morning when I woke up, I thought about it a little bit more, because that's what I do. I react before I think sometimes. I think we all do, especially on social media. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'm fine with it. If someone has got the stuff, if someone's good enough to be Batman, you know, I'm fine with it. But I'll be interested to read your comments when the video gets posted to see what you think about it. I'm sure there'll be a few people who say, no, Bruce Wayne and Batman should absolutely be white. But I think there'll be some other people who say, do you know what? You know, if Winston's a good actor, as I've said, if he's good enough and he's got the ability, why not? That's the way I look at things. And if you do things like that, I think you'll get all the equality you want, and you'll be working with talented people. But, you know, what's happened today is we've driven, for example, there's not many good or great actors in the industry, in the mainstream industry anymore. There's not great actors, there's not great directors, there's not great writers. They're all pretty average, if you ask me. And if you're saying, you know, male and pale is stale, then all the good actors are going to shrug their shoulders and say, what's the fucking point? We're wasting our time. White writers are going to say, the great white writers are going to say, we don't want to work here. I mean, you know, these people are fucking racist. These people are fucking insane. And when they're employing minorities, they're saying anyone will do. They're not even bringing in the talented black people or Latino people. So they're just saying, oh, you look like a diverse person. Yeah, we'll stick you in it. Make us look like we care about representation and inclusion. Well, it's all a facade anyway, as we already know. So the best people are not being employed anymore, because everything is on New Hollywood's, you know, political ideology. So the best people are not being employed. Because don't forget, these days, all you have to do to direct a movie, obviously, is tell the actors what to do. And I mean, it must be horrible to be an actor these days. Most of those actors are working with a pure green screen. You've got the director, you know, with an IMAX camera. All he has to do, or she, is press a couple of buttons. You know, it's got 100% clarity. It's top tier. You know, they're using top tier technology. But if you're an actor working in a green screen, you must have to. I mean, I know they say, well, acting's about pretending, and I get that. But I mean, you know, even when you're standing on the stage at the theatre, like I've done many times, at least we've had a brilliant designer to do, you know, our backgrounds and our sets and everything. They create a real world. I love designers. I love the graphic designers who come in to do some of the plays that I've been in, because they create that world for you. When I see a TV show or a film and I see all the great sets, and I think these people are creating a world for us. The beautiful costume designs that you see on actors. It's brilliant, because it's another form of storytelling. But to actually, you know, that's another problem with entertainment today. It's all pretty much made in green screen. I think it's dull and boring. I miss the days of matte paintings. I miss the days of beautiful miniatures, you know, of side projections. You know, it was proper artists working in the industry. All those artists, you don't really get those people in there. So when I hear about, oh my God, the cinematography in the Batman, well, let's be honest, I only had to press a couple of buttons on a high-res camera. Let's be fucking honest. As much as I love the way Zack Snyder uses computer-generated images as a paintbrush, let's be honest. All he and his people have to do is press a few buttons on a computer. It's not like creating great miniatures and matte paintings and, taking a miniature and taking a camera and, making sure that you make it look like the right size. That takes craft. That takes artistic temperament. Pressing a few buttons on a high-res fucking camera and getting your computer-generated images on your laptop ready isn't, that isn't art as far as I'm concerned. So when I hear the term VFX artist, you know what I do? I laugh, because that's not me disrespecting the people who do that job. You know what you're doing, you have to do a certain thing, and I suppose from a certain point of view, you are an artist. But let's be honest, it's not really the dictionary's explanation of being a fucking artist, is it? It isn't. And as far as I'm concerned, it isn't art. Pressing buttons and having the best cameras isn't art. It's not that fucking difficult. All you have to do is go to film school. Your film should look excellent with the techniques and technology available to you guys and girls today. It's a lot easier than it was for the poor, for the poor people making The Wizard of Oz. Imagine what they did with that film. If you've never seen The Wizard of Oz before, and I'm going on about it at the moment a lot, it's because I'm fucking obsessed with that film. But the artistry, the miniatures, the matte paintings, it's fucking beautiful. Then you've got Superman 78 and Star Wars 77. The artistry used in those films was amazing. But the best actors are not being employed. The best people are not being employed. That was my point. So going back to, because I keep on forgetting his name, because you know how good I am with names, but like this Winston Duke guy, if he's good enough, if he can do it, then I'd be up for it. That's my opinion on that. That's my, that's my thesis on that. I don't want to obstruct anyone from auditioning for a role. And I think a black Batman can be just as effective as a white Batman. I don't think. It's not about, as I say, it's not about saying, oh, we need a black Batman. We need a black Bond. You know me well enough by now to, I think that's bollocks. I do. But I think if someone comes in who's that special, who can do it, but they happen to be black, yeah, why not? So if Winston Duke is good enough, if he goes in an audition, if James takes him in for an audition, and he's good enough, but here's the thing, you've got to be able, in this environment, I think this is a problem, to say to a black actor, no, you won't be playing Batman, and not mention his colour of his skin, say, I just don't see it. That should be okay. But in the world we live in today, where there was all that kind of controversy that Jeff Johns didn't want, the guy playing Superman's grandfather, is it Segel in Krypton, to be black. And, he was called a racist. That's not racism. He didn't want to do it. It wasn't his vision. Now, again, as I say, if a black actor came in and he was better than everybody else, I'd say, yeah. But what they wanted to do was cast a black guy for representation and inclusion's sake. And that's different. That's not... Once you do that on those parameters, then you are not doing it for artistic reasons. But if a black guy comes in who's better than everyone else, and you can see how great he's going to be as Batman or any character who wasn't originally black, Latino, Asian, or whatever, right? If they're good, if they're better than everybody else, absolutely, I would cast them. I would give them the job. And I think if we start working on those parameters, then I think yes, there will be great representation, genuine representation and inclusion. Denzel Washington didn't become successful because he was a black man, because he's a great actor. Eddie Murphy didn't become successful because he was a black man, because he's ultra talented, and that's why he made him. Very funny, very good at what he does. And, all the Asian actors that we used to watch in films and stuff. I know there were some stereotypes in our movies. I understand that, and people get offended by that. But they were good enough to be there and play those roles. And that's how they got to do it. Bruce Lee was good at what he did. He became the biggest star in the fucking world. And, there was no racism. I don't think there was any racism pointed towards Bruce Lee. He was so good. The guy was so good at what he did. If you're good enough and you get the job, because you're good enough, most of the public, not all of the public, there's always going to be bigotry. There's always going to be racism. But the outcry we get today is because people know that they're turning a white character into a black character because of ideological reasons. They're not doing it for the art. But that's how I see it. You know, if you're good enough and I can see you playing Batman and you're better than anyone else who's come in, yeah, I'd absolutely go for it. I think, you know, if, say, Winston Duke wants to go for an audition, if James Gunn wants to audition Winston Duke, I'm absolutely fine with that. I think that's good. And as I say, if we can do that instead of not giving more work to women and black people and diverse actors and diverse people in the industry who don't have any talent, but we're driving all the other people out because we're trying to get revenge because minorities didn't get as much representation back in the day and blaming the white people of today, that's not a good thing. And that's another, that's reverse racism, isn't it? And that doesn't solve anything. Revenge, equality is important, but revenge is a bitter, hateful thing done with people with extremist values. And the problem is the people running entertainment today, running most companies and industries today are very extreme in their leftness, in their politics, and they've gaslit people and they've created a bit of a problem. So those people shouldn't be working in entertainment. But entertainment is what it is. I don't believe we can fix Hollywood or fix the BBC, fix English Western, entertainment. I think, as I've said earlier, we need to move away from it and build something new and bold. And maybe, as I've said other days, maybe it should be the fans. Maybe it should be fans and people who have come out of film school. I think it certainly has to be away from California and Hollywood. That system is dead. That system is drowning in its own lava. There's no going back. Just look at what they do. Every fucking mid-announcement, another prequel, sequel, remake. Now, when I was growing up, we got remakes. We did. And at times we got bloody good remakes. But it's all remakes, prequels and sequels now. There's very few originality. And when they do something original, it's very mid and uninteresting. And then they blame us for not supporting something original. Well, it's not just the case of doing something original. You've actually got to have some talent and artistry and proper originality in your brain and in your pores. And if you don't do that, it's your job to entertain us. It's not our job to support any original movie you make. But when you employ people for the wrong reasons, on the wrong parameters, this is what happens to an industry. This industry was once full of pioneers. Now, even the audience value the wrong things about television and film and storytelling. Oh my God, the IMAX, it was amazing. The cinematography, I'm going to come. Do you know what I mean? They barely talk about the story, the performances. I make fun of this whole, it's the bestest movie ever. I've noticed early reactions for the latest Planet of the Apes movie, which is produced by 20th Century Fox Studios, which is basically Disney. So I'm not interested in it. I won't be going to watch this movie because already I can tell exactly what this movie is going to be and everyone's excited. Look at the apes, they look so real, blah, 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 blah. They looked fucking real in the Charlton Heston movie and they didn't use one computer to create an ape. It was people in prosthetics and they looked like fucking apes. It looked as real as in Matt Reeves movies, because I know people have, masturbate and orgasm about Matt Reeves. Oh my God, Matt Reeves, I don't think these modern day directors will be remembered. I'm not saying Matt Reeves isn't a good, capable director, but I don't think he's, a top tier director like the ones I grew up with. He's a good director. As I've said before, James Gunn's a solid, good director. But he's not going to be remembered. He will not be remembered as one of the greats. Neither Zack Snyder. I like Zack Snyder, but I don't think his stands are right in thinking he's the best director ever. No, I don't think that. I like Zack. I like the way he makes things look, but he's not going to go down as one of the greats. Even Christopher Nolan, I don't think, will go down as one of the greats. And when it comes to these days, Christopher Nolan stands out. and he's a really good director. But the reason he stands out because he's surrounded by mediocrity. And when you're surrounded by mediocrity and you're a little bit better than the mediocrity, you look better than you actually are. I'm not saying that Chris is a bad director. I'm just saying that there's no great history-making directors today. Those times have gone. Maybe there's one somewhere that we can pull out and say, yeah. But I still don't think even the greatest directors of today can go on the greatest all-time directors list. I don't think even the best movies of today can go in the all-time movies list. What do you take off for the movies we're getting today? Would you really dare to put Barbie in one of the greatest movies of all time lists? I mean, even Oppenheimer. Would you put it in? What would you take out? But when I'm going on my X feed, we have these stands and, these applauding seals. Oh my God, it's the bestest ever. This director is amazing. The cinematography. And you know what? It sends my anxiety through the roof. And you know what? It's difficult because I don't want to make fun of people for loving something. It is toxic, but sometimes I break. And, it's like having to blow into a brown bag. Oh my God, I can't handle these people. They're celebrating fucking mediocrity. And I am sick I'm sick to death of the mediocrity of today. Every announcement is so dull and uninspiring. And I want to see the best people working in this industry and the best actors and the collaborators who can work with other people. And I don't want to hear about divas. Poor little Sydney Sweeney got very upset because an older producer said she wasn't attractive, she couldn't act. And, she doesn't even, her breasts are not even all that. It was a very cruel comment to make. But, is Sydney Sweeney a great actor? No. Is Sydney Sweeney beautiful or stunning? I don't think so. I know. I'm ugly, I'm 51, I have no right to judge. But I don't think what that producer said was wrong. How did Sydney Sweeney react to this? She said, sorry for having great tits. And that's another thing today. They can't take criticism. I mean, I think that was cruel what that producer said. I don't think there was any need to say. I've been thinking that in my head. But basically, Sydney Sweeney, isn't Vivian Lee, isn't Jodie Foster. And, she's overrated. She's a first trap. Sydney Sweeney is a first trap. This is where we are today. We have first traps. And I mean, when I was growing up, first traps were Anna Nicole Smith. People we knew couldn't act the way out of a paper bag. Anna Nicole Smith knew she couldn't act the way out of a paper bag. Pamela Anderson knew she was a shit actor and why she was on Baywatch. So nobody was under any misconceptions when I was growing up. But today they're so deluded. They can't take any criticism whatsoever. We actually had, what's his name, that Waltz guy, right? Who played Blofeld, right? In Daniel Craig's Bond films. He was criticising Marlon Brando. Who are fucking you? Someone from the middest, forgettable era of entertainment in fucking history criticising Marlon Brando. Because people always go for Marlon because he gave up too quickly, he retired early, he was taking gigs for money, and everyone that goes after him, he was so talented, he should have been an inspiration. Well, in the early part of his career, he was. But then he didn't care anymore. He didn't give a shit. Whether that's wrong, it was his talent to do whatever he wanted. And you, Mr. Waltz, don't have any fucking right to be looking down your little mid-nose at Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando, the words Marlon Brando shouldn't even be coming out of your mediocre, forgettable mouth. How fucking dare you? And this is what we get all day, their constant shit on, Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and them crying because someone shouted at them on set. It's so boring. It's so depressing to read. And, they're shitting on each other, day in, day out. And, going after their customers as well. Always blaming us, the fans, the customers, for their movies failing. Because apparently we're a charity. We're their slaves. We should just go and watch. And like any old shit they make. So it's always simple for me. The best people must get the jobs. And if Winston Duke is the best person to play Batman, he should play Batman. I'm not convinced that's the case, by the way, but I haven't seen much of Winston Duke. But I'm not opposed to a black man playing Batman if he is the best man for the job.